Welcome to another episode of On the Pitch with TJ Picks. I'm your host, TJ Raff. Saturday soccer action takes us to the Premier League. Let's go. Crystal Palace at home, hosting Liverpool. Liverpool midweek game in Champions League. Will be a little tired, but they should dominate Crystal Palace at their home. Liverpool minus 204. Give me Liverpool to take down Crystal Palace. I also like some goals in here. I think Crystal Palace can score one. Liverpool's always good for two. So let's go with Liverpool and some goals. Next game in the Premier League, Arsenal at home versus a very weak Southampton team. Arsenal also competing in the Champions League. It's not going to be a problem, guys. Arsenal, huge, heavy favorite. So you might have to take the goal spread here or use Arsenal in a parlay. Give me Arsenal at home to take down Southampton. Brentford versus the Wolves. We're going to look at this one a little bit more. Brentford at home is sitting in the 12th spot. Wolves all the way down to the bottom, guys. Brentford has the edge here. Brentford did tie West Ham in their last matchup. Wolves played a good game versus Liverpool, only lost to them 2-1. The last time they faced off each other, was at Wolverhampton. Brentford won 2-0. I just got to go with the obvious pick here, even though it's a low line. I'm going to go with Brentford at home to take down the Wolverhampton Wolves. Followed up by the next game, Leicester at home versus Bournemouth. Guys, this one's a little bit trickier here. Leicester lost to Arsenal in their last game 4-2. Bournemouth won 3-1 versus a very weak Southampton team. In the current standings, Bournemouth, 11th place, 8 goals scored, 9 goals conceded. Leicester, 8 goals scored, 12 goals conceded. Home team should get a goal. I like the both to score here. Don't really like a side. I'm just going to go with both to score, Leicester versus Bournemouth. Moving on to Manchester City at home, receiving Fulham. Manchester City also participated in the Champions League game. Manchester City is currently sitting in the second spot with 14 points right behind Liverpool. So Liverpool and Manchester City are both going to want to win. Fulham's not too bad. They're in the sixth slot. Only have scored, they scored 8 goals in 6 games, have only conceded 5 goals. So they've conceded less than a goal a game. Powerhouse, Manchester coming in, though. I got to take Manchester to get the victory. West Ham at home versus Ipswich. Ipswich is first time in the England Premier in a long time. They're playing pretty well right now. They're not laying down to anybody. They've got 5 goals scored, 10 goals conceded. West Ham only 6 goals scored in 6 games, 10 goals conceded. So they have been conceding some goals. This one right here, with West Ham being at home, I'm going to go with another both to score here. Ipswich tied Aston Villa 2-2. They also scored a goal against Southampton 1-1, and also scored 1-1 versus Fulham. They have been scoring in most of their games. Give me a both to score in West Ham versus Ipswich. Final game for Saturday, England Premier League, Everton versus Newcastle, guys. This is an interesting matchup. Newcastle, 7th place, 8 goals scored, 7 goals conceded. Meanwhile, Everton, 7 goals scored, 15 goals conceded. They're at home, so they should get a goal at home. Newcastle should also get a goal because Everton's giving up more than 2 goals a game. Another both to score here, Everton, Newcastle. We're going to lay off picking a side here, going with the both to score. Now, moving on to our favorite league, Bundesliga, for Saturday. Werder Bremen at home taking on Freiburg. The current standings, Freiburg is in 7th place, 8 goals scored, 7 goals conceded. Werder Bremen, 8 goals scored, 11 goals conceded. Most recent matchups, Werder Bremen off of a big win, 4-3 versus Hoffenheim. Freiburg, an embarrassing loss versus St. Pauli, guys. Very embarrassing loss. They played awful. The momentum is on the side of Werder Bremen. But guys, I'm going to pick a surprise winner here. Give me Freiburg to bounce back after their embarrassing loss versus St. Pauli. I do like the goals here as well. Union Berlin at home in our next matchup, taking on the powerful Dortmund, who's crushing teams in the Champions League. Dortmund, 11 goals scored, 9 goals conceded in that fifth slot, though, so they want to keep winning. Union Berlin is never really involved in high-scoring games. I think they've gotten one high-scoring game in the last 5 matchups. Let's look at that. Union Berlin, last matchup, lost 1-0 to Gladbach. Before that, they beat Hoffenheim 2-1. Prior to that, it was a 0-0 draw versus RB. Before that, it was a 1-0 victory to St. Pauli. So you see what I'm saying, guys? Union Berlin is one of those teams where if they're playing, I hesitate to take an over. I hesitate to take goals, even though it can be against a powerhouse team like Dortmund. I got the Dortmund jersey on right here, old school style. I do see Dortmund winning this game. And they are surprisingly a plus 122. Wow. This is interesting because Union Berlin has a very good defense. This could be crazy and they could score a ton of goals, but Union Berlin is known for the defense. I'm going to take Dortmund money line plus 122. VfL Bochum in the next game at home taking on Wolfsburg. VfL Bochum, guys, is all the way down to the 17th slot, second to last. 5 games, 5 goals scored, 11 goals conceded. Wolfsburg, not too far from them, 13th slot, 10 goals scored, 11 conceded. Previous games for both teams, Bochum lost 4-2 to Dortmund, and Wolfsburg 2-2 draw to Stuttgart. In this one, we're gonna get some goals, and it's a tough one, but I am gonna go with the away team, Wolfsburg, to get the victory here. Moving on to the next game, Bayer Leverkusen at home versus Holstein Kiel. Guys, Bayer Leverkusen is minus 1250, so we know who's gonna win this game. Now, the problem here is how are we gonna bet this game? When I see situations like this, see a powerful team like Bayer Leverkusen at home, Bayer Leverkusen is in 4th place, 14 goals scored, 10 goals conceded, versus the very last place team, Holstein Kiel, 7 goals scored, 17 goals conceded. They've conceded the most goals out of any team. And you got a Bayer Leverkusen trying to jump up into the top 3 teams. Let's look at the prior results last week. Leverkusen in Champions League, 1-0 win over Milan versus Bayern Munich. That was supposed to be the big game. They trapped us. It was a draw versus Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen, 1-1. Holstein Kiel, 2 goals scored versus 4 Eintracht, 4-2 beat Holstein Kiel. Holstein Kiel also before that tied 2-2 to Bochum, guys. Holstein Kiel can score goals, and we know Bayer Leverkusen can score goals. So we're going to go with Bayern Leverkusen here to win, and we're going to see a lot of goals in this one. The VIP members will get my VIP play for that one. St. Pauli with a very surprising win over Freiburg, 3-0. Nobody thought they could do it in our final game for Saturday Bundesliga action. St. Pauli versus Mainz. St. Pauli is in the 14th spot, 4 goals, only have scored 4 goals in 5 games, 6 conceded. Mainz, 8 goals scored, 10 goals conceded. This one's a toss-up, guys. They have St. Pauli as a favorite. Mainz plus 198, St. Pauli plus 136. We're not picking a side here. We're going with the both to score in this last Bundesliga game for Saturday. Just skimming across some of the other leagues in case I see something that pops up. We'll go right into it. Serie A, Italy, Udinese versus Lecce. Give me Udinese money line for Saturday's Italian Serie A action. Moving on to the next game, Atalanta versus Genoa. Give me Atalanta at home to take the victory. Final game for the Serie A, Italy for Saturday. Inter Milan at home taking on Torino. Give me Inter Milan to get the victory. Moving on, Saturday action, La Liga, Spain. We are going to look at this game. Real Madrid versus Villarreal, guys. Real Madrid today did not show up for their Champions League action, guys. And I should have known better because the lines were low. It trapped me, trapped everybody else. Real Madrid took an L. They didn't even start Mbappe. I don't know what's going on. They started Endrick, the young player. He didn't do too much. Real Madrid is due for a goal-scoring game versus Villarreal. Villarreal has been playing very well this year. So this is going to be a good game. Real Madrid should get the victory here, but we will see some goals, guys. I like the goals in Real Madrid versus Villarreal in the Spanish La Liga action. Guys, that'll do it for Saturday's soccer action. All right, guys, Sunday soccer action. We're headed back to England, the England Premier League. Aston Villa versus Manchester United, guys. Manchester United is a bipolar team. They're not playing too well. Aston Villa has also had some really good games and some really bad games, guys. This is the early game for Sunday. I do like a both to score here. Aston Villa, Manchester United. Give me the both to score. If you were to force me to take a pick, give me Aston Villa at home just because of how the season has gone. Give me the home team here. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. I'm going to have to go with Chelsea to take the victory here at home. Brighton versus Tottenham. Final game for England Premier League on Sunday. Brighton is currently in the 9th slot, 10 goals scored, 8 goals conceded. Tottenham, 12 goals scored, only 5 conceded, but they're on the road here, so they are going to concede a goal to Brighton, who has scored 10 goals in 6 games. I like the over in this game, and I also like the both to score, but give me Tottenham with the victory here. Sunday action. Let's go to France. We're not going to bet all the games here, but we are going to look at the good old PSG game. PSG visiting OGC Nice for our Sunday French League action. OGC Nice 0-0 draw in their last game versus Lens. PSG loses again in Champions League action 2-0. Prior to that, they won 3-1 in the French League in their last league action, guys. Current standings for both of these teams here in the French League. PSG, first place after 6 games. 20 goals scored, only 5 conceded. They're giving up 1 or less goals. OGC Nice, 14 goals scored in 6 games. Only 6 conceded. I do like the both to score here. I think PSG is going to edge out the win, possible 2-1. Give me PSG to get the victory here. Maybe exactly 2-1, guys. PSG to get the victory and both to score. Finishing off Sunday with our Bundesliga action. First game of Sunday, Heidenheim versus RB Leipzig. Let's take a look at the standings. FC Heidenheim, 6th place, 10 goals scored, 7 goals conceded. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig is in 3rd place, 8 goals scored, only 2 goals conceded in 5 games. Heidenheim did come off a big victory off of Mainz 2-0 in their last matchup. RB Leipzig was defeated in Champions League action today, 2-3 versus Juventus. Juventus had a red card and still managed to get the victory. So not a good loss for RB Leipzig. Prior to that, RB Leipzig beat Augsburg 4-0. So in their own respective league, RB Leipzig is a stronger team. Give me RB Leipzig to get a victory, especially after the disgusting loss they just had in Champions League, where they had a man advantage and they still gave up the game. Let's get RB Leipzig with a big bounce back win here versus a lower level Bundesliga team. Moving on, Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich only got 1 point last game in Liga action, tying Bayer Leverkusen. They had so many chances to get that second goal, but it didn't happen. Eintracht Frankfurt is currently in second place, right behind Bayern Munich. This is going to be a good game. Bayern Munich, 17 goals scored, 4 goals conceded. Eintracht Frankfurt, 11 goals scored, 6 goals conceded. Last time they faced off versus each other, Bayern Munich won 2-1. Prior to that, it was Eintracht who took down Bayern Munich 5-1. In the last 4 matchups between these two teams, we've seen it both to score, guys. So I am liking that, especially since they're the number 1, number 2 teams. I do like the both to score here. I like goals in this game, but give me Bayern Munich to edge out a victory here with a lot of goals being scored. Oh, I'm liking Sunday, guys. Next game, Stuttgart versus Hoffenheim. Another game where we're going to see some goals. Stuttgart coming off a 1-1 draw in Champions League action. Prior to that, they had a 2-2 draw in the Bundesliga versus Wolfsburg. Hoffenheim coming off a 3-4 loss versus Werder Bremen, guys. So we see goals, 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 goals. Give me goals in this game. Stuttgart versus Hoffenheim with the victory coming for Stuttgart. I think that'll do it, guys. That's it. That's all I got for you this week. Thanks again.
Now, in interest of, I know you've gone through all the leagues. If you were looking at an over parlay, what do you think is the best 2-piece over? And you can even, dial it back to a 1.5 if you find one that makes sense. What do you think makes the most sense this week?
It's that time of the podcast where we give away our over 2.5 parlay, guys. 2-teamer headed to the Bundesliga for Saturday's parlay. We're going to go with VfL Bochum and Wolfsburg. Parlay that with the over in Bayer Leverkusen and Holstein Kiel, guys. There you go. That'll do it for Saturday's 2-team over parlay. For Sunday's 2-team over 2.5 parlay, we're headed back to the Bundesliga, guys. We got to go there. Give me the over 2.5 in Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayern Munich, and parlay that with the over in Stuttgart and Hoffenheim. And there you go, guys. That's your over 2.5 2-team parlay for Sunday Bundesliga action. Let's get right into some NFL action, guys. NFL has been a public nightmare, guys. Public is getting demolished on Sundays. The current public record on Sundays versus the spread versus the bookies and Vegas is 17-36. That means if you would have blinded the public play blindly on Sundays, you're 36-17, up 19 units. That's blindly betting. That means that Vegas and the bookies are hitting at a 68% rate. Let me break it down to you. Week 1, the bookies in Vegas went 9-4 versus the public. Week 2, the Vegas and the bookies went 10-4 versus the public. Week 3, no different, 8-5 versus the public. And the week that we just had, Vegas and the bookies 9-4. The public has not won more than 5 games on a Sunday. And when I mean public action, I mean any bet on a certain side of the spread with 55, 60, 60% or higher. I usually go for the percentages that are above 60%, and I count those as a public play. So, saying with all that said, we're going to keep it simple, guys. This weekend and Sunday, NFL Week 5, keeping it simple. We're fading the public. Fade, fade, fade. Each game, I don't care who's playing. We're just going to fade the public. Starting with the first game, Jets versus Vikings. Jets versus Vikings. The public is 73% on the Vikings, -2. And it's for a big reason, guys. The Vikings are playing very well. We're taking the Jets. Give me the Jets +2.5, Jets +3. Next game, Panthers versus Bears. Panthers Panthers. This one's a little bit tight right now. This one doesn't have a clear public edge, but we do actually see 55% of the public on the Bears -4. So give me the Panthers +4 in this one. Moving on to the next game, Ravens Bengals. The public's on the Ravens -2.5. 70% of the public is on the Ravens. We're going to take the Bengals +3. Moving on to the next one, nice and simple. Bills, Texans. Everybody's on the Bills -1. We're taking the Texans money line. Moving on to the next one, Colts, Jaguars. The public is on the Jaguars. 71% of the cash is on the Jaguars. We're taking the Colts +3. Next game, Dolphins, Patriots. Man, this is an ugly one. Everybody's on the Patriots. 80% of the public. This is one of the higher ones. Give me the Dolphins money line. Browns, Commanders. Commanders -3 favorites. The whole world's on the Commanders. 76%. Give me the Browns +3. Raiders versus Broncos. Everybody's on the Broncos -3. Give me the Raiders +3. Cardinals, 49ers. Whole world is on the 49ers -7. Give me the Cardinals +7. Packers, Rams. Packers, Rams. Looks like people are on the Packers. 55% of the public is on the Packers -3. Rams have a lot of injuries. We're taking the Rams +3. Give me the Rams +3. Giants, Seahawks. 81% of the public is on the Seahawks -6. Give me the New York Giants +6. Sunday night football game, Cowboys, Steelers. 68% of the public on the Cowboys +2.5. Give me the Steelers -2.5. And that'll do it for Sunday's NFL. Fade the public, fade the public. Keep it simple, guys. Let's go.
You sort of dumbfounded me there. You just went off, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, fuck.
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing games that I want to attack right now. Like, for me, the Cardinals didn't look that great last week, but I think they have all the talent in the world. And based on like a +7,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a
+7.
bounce back spot. And I'm going to probably do a teaser on that or something along those lines because
And some of those that I said, you think about it and you're like, oh, no way, man. Why is he taking them? Why is he taking them? Right? And you're like, what the
what do you
heck?
think
That's
about
just
this? Like the Cardinals, like I say, like a plus, I don't know, 9.5 or maybe even bigger. And then you look to an over, but go nice and light and look
yeah.
because there are both teams that can score. Look to like a light over. I think that's going to be a
Oh
play.
yeah, like a light over for the weekend.
Yeah, I think like just like for the Cardinals 49ers game, it would be like, I don't know, whatever the number is. I don't have it right here, but
Oh yeah.
like
That
a
line's
30
moved
over
up.
37,
So
38, or I don't know.
it's at 50, so you have to drop it down 7 points. It'd be 43.
43?
Yeah.
There you go.
But you could pick an over in the Packers Rams game. You could pick an over in the Cardinals 49ers. Those have both moved up on the over line. And Ravens Bengals has moved up from 47 to 49. So those are some games where we might want to take the over. Just remember, fellas, that on any given day, the impossible can happen. It happened today in the Champions League. We saw teams like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid versus lower competition not get the victory. We also saw teams like Bayern Munich, who scored 9 goals in first game of Champions League, scored 0 goals in their second Champions League game. I don't understand it. No one ever will. But things like that happen. When you think something can't happen and it does happen, it blows your mind, guys. That's what happens in sports. You got to keep that in mind. You got to take the good days with the bad days. There's going to be some bad days. So expect that to happen, especially in big tournaments like the Champions League. I did tell my VIP members to be careful because there are days like this, and I was right today. We had a bad day today. It's been the first bad day in a long time. We will bounce back, though, this weekend with all the soccer action that we have. So just remember that, guys. Anything can happen on any given day. And if the line looks too good to be true, it usually is going to be too good to be true. So keep that in mind. NFL Sunday, guys, fading the public has you up plus 19 units. If you would have just blindly faded the public, we're going to continue to fade the public as we go into week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to keep doing it until it stops working. Even if it doesn't work one weekend, we're going to do it the following weekend, guys, because we've seen some crazy things happen in the NFL. Those will continue to happen. But just imagine what I am saying right now. Listen to what I am saying right now. If you would have blindly faded the public every Sunday, game in, game out, every game, don't even look at number stats, none of that. Just fade the public and you would be up plus 19 units, guys. So we're going to continue to do that. Why not? Take away the stress, fade the public, and stay in the green. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of On the Pitch with TJ Picks. I'm your host, TJ Raff, signing off. Take care and goodbye.